team in the Western Conference in February, it may have been the Lakers. They're 8-2 this month, and they have a huge game tonight against the Timberwolves. So now we're joined by our reporter covering the Lakers, Dave McMenamin, our reporter covering the Timberwolves, Tim McMahon here. I do want to start on the Lakers side here, though, because they've lost their last 2 games here against the Timberwolves, right? They're only averaging about 83.5 points per game. But that was before they got this guy that you know very well, Luka Doncic. Dave, what's the sense around the Lakers heading into this one?
Well, I just want to look back at the game they played against the Timberwolves back on December 2nd.
Okay.
And that really changed everything. That was, I think, the worst game I've ever seen LeBron play in the entire time I've been covering his teams for more than a decade. He goes 4 for 16 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, 6 turnovers. Shortly thereafter, he ends up taking about a week away from the team to get his body and mind right. And everything since has been on an upward trajectory to the point where J.J. Redick's talking about LeBron James as being an all-defensive level player this year in year 22. And quite frankly, I expect the Lakers to rise to the occasion to play the Wolves tonight. They've won 8 straight games against above 500 teams. And as J.J. Redick said, we recognize we have a battle every night to try to get to where we want to be in the Western Conference standings so we can make as much noise as possible in the playoffs.
But the Lakers as a team, their defense has been elite as of late. They've basically since mid-January have really turned it up. I want to bring Kendrick Perkins back into the conversation here. Perk, what have you noticed surrounding JJ's schemes here defensively?
You know JJ go bring the best out of you. He makes you think, right? And he got me thinking. And I'm wondering, why is this team so good defensively? Well, J.J. Redick was a shooter, a damn good three-point shooter, one of the best I've seen, right? And so you look at this Laker team since January 15th, they're ranked number 1 defensively, but they're also ranked number 3 for us giving up three-pointers. And guess what? They're allowing them on purpose. Look how many players are in the paint. They're saying, Aaron Gordon, you know what? You can have that shot. And they're only making it at a 34% clip. Here you go again. 4 more guys in the paint, allowing guys to shoot these uncontested three-point shots. This is what they're playing. This is not nothing that's happening by accident. The plan is, the message that's being sent by the Lakers is, we believe that you don't have shooters, and that we also believe that you guys can't beat us from the three-point line, and it's been working.
It's a fascinating experiment that J.J. Redick is maybe trying here. I would argue that what's going on with the Lakers defense is one of the most important things to watch the rest of the regular season, because if they can keep this up, and what Perk is describing there is both smoke and mirrors and analytics, if that makes sense, because you're really rolling the dice, allowing open shots like that, but maybe JJ's identified something that there's too many guys who will take an open 3 when they shouldn't. And if it works, it totally changes the paradigm for the Lakers. I can't believe that they're able to defend this way, but they've been able to do it for so long at such a high level that I can't ignore it. And so what I really want to see in the upcoming few weeks here is when the coaches on the other side start to scheme against this. Now that they've seen what it looks like with Luka, now that they've seen what it looks like with this heavyweight lineup, are there wrinkles that they can have that the Lakers aren't going to be able to handle? I'm circling this weekend's game against the 2 games against the Clippers. Ty Lue will be able to watch what they're doing, and he will be able to put in a game plan. But the Wolves have had 2 days off. They've been in L.A. since Monday. They had a full practice yesterday. They're missing some guys, but let's see how they approach tonight and see if they challenge this system.
Yeah, let's talk about the Timberwolves a little bit, because they're coming off an incredible upset win here over the Thunder, down by double digits late in the fourth quarter, and were able to force it to overtime with Anthony Edwards on the bench and then come out with a win here. What is Minnesota looking for from Anthony Edwards?
Yeah, and look, Anthony Edwards is still early in his career and in his development as a face of the franchise. He has a really natural gift of a charismatic personality. I mean, he is a guy who uplifts his teammates, a hype man. Watch him when he's on the bench. He's cheering as hard as anybody. What Chris Finch has challenged Ant to do is to translate that personality into his game. The same way that he empowers his teammates with his voice, do it with your game. And it's things like trust in your teammates. Don't feel like down the stretch in close games you have to be the superhero every single time. A lot of their struggles this year in clutch situations have been because Ant puts on the cape instead of trusting his teammates.
I think he's having a little bit of a frustrating season. After last year was such an uplifting and it was all positive, The changes this year without Karl Towns, he's been double teamed a lot, which he talked about when he talked to you at All-Star. He's talked about a lot of times after games when he gets doubled a lot. He's getting fined a bunch of times. Their defense isn't quite as good. He's just been a little bit frustrated, and it's been a bit of a challenge for him to take it to the next level after last year was such a high note.
As you have pointed out on this show, he really misses Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, listen to anything he talks about what's going on in New York, about when he got to see him at All-Star, how much he misses that guy. I think sometimes you don't realize what you had till it's gone. And not that they were like the perfect matchup or perfect tandem when they were together, but obviously, now that he doesn't have the automatic 25 and 10 every night, it makes the math a lot different for him.
He's one of the brightest stars in the league, not to mention one of the brightest stars in the Western Conference. The Lakers, they sort of know that this, at any given moment, Anthony Edwards, he loves to put on a show, particularly in Crypto.com Arena. What are their plans for Ant tonight?
Well, I mean, you're going to see different looks against Anthony Edwards. Obviously, from the Lakers, you can't just go with one defender trying to stop him because he's going to come at you at waves. But, I expect to see some varying degree of, the Lakers trying to stop him at the front line, the point of the attack. And then you're going to have to, have guys like Jackson Hayes stay out of foul trouble to be able to provide some sort of rim protection when he gets downhill.
We point out that it's questionable for Donte DiVincenzo to come back tonight. And I don't know what he'll be able to give them. But his three-point shooting, in theory, is able to stretch the court and make it harder to double Ant. And so Julius Randle, we know, has been out since January with a groin injury. He is getting closer, but getting Donte DiVincenzo back, even if it doesn't immediately happen tonight, could help this team get their offensive firepower back up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, look, the Lakers are showing you they're going to pack the paint. That's a way to overcome not having the traditional rim protector that they attempted to trade for. And they're going to make Ant trust his teammates, and they're going to dare guys like Jaden McDaniels. Okay, hey, you've got an open three. Can you beat us shooting that open three?
I think the thing that we've all sort of been continuously waiting for is, okay, should we believe what we are seeing here from the Los Angeles Lakers? And I think against Anthony Edwards, him against the Mavs, but what he did everywhere else, he became the 8th player with a triple-double in their first game against a former team here. And as we saw Tuesday night, the Luka LeBron connection, it's working. James is shooting 62% off passes from Doncic, his highest shooting percentage off any player's passes this season. That includes 6 of 13 from three-point range. And the Lakers' new star duo has continued the team's winning ways here. Since the middle of January, LA has won 15 of 19 games, giving the Lakers the best record in the league in this time. That's thanks in large part to the NBA's best defense during this stretch. So the host of ESPN Bet Live, Tyler Fulgham, is joining us now. Tyler, the Lakers, they are the talk of the NBA right now. They host the Timberwolves tonight. What do you like from his game?
Yeah, I think this is a game where we can continue to bet on the Lakers. Malika, Perk, LA has been awesome since they acquired Luka Doncic, and they were playing really good ball before that, as you laid out. My bet would be to take the Lakers in the first half. That means they only need to win the first half by 4 points. I think the T-Wolves might try and show us something in the second half, but they're coming off that 24-point comeback and overtime game against OKC. Their legs might be a little tired. Meanwhile, Crypto.com is going to be buzzing because Luka and LeBron are the show in town. So I think in the first 24 minutes, where you're always going to see one of them on the floor at all times, the Lakers jump out to at least a 4-point lead. Perk, what do you think?
Well, one, I'm glad you learned a little something. I taught you about that first half bet, right? That first half bet, that's something real right there. That's number one. Number two, I'm rolling with that. I think the Lakers, with J.J. Redick and his game planning over the last, month or so defensively, they're going to make somebody else beat them outside of Anthony Edwards, and I don't think that could happen tonight. I think the Lakers are going to come out. They're going to be on a mission. I think Austin Reeves is going to come out and do his thing. I actually like this bet. 3.5 first half for the Lakers.
Well, Tyler, while we have you here, can we just bounce around the league? A couple of other new duos that I'd love to talk about. Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler also have the league buzzing. They face the Magic on the road here. What do you like in this one, Tyler?
It's the exact same bet, Malika. Perk, I'm going to lay the 2.5 in the first half with the Warriors. They're down in Orlando, and the Magic are a good team. but the Magic can really struggle to score, especially since Jalen Suggs is out and Cole Anthony is banged up. Look at what the Warriors have been since Jimmy Butler got to the Bay. 7 games with this team. They're 6-1 straight up, 6-1 ATS, and look at that middle nugget right there. They have the best defensive efficiency in the NBA over this 7-game stretch. And much like adding Luka to LeBron, there's never not going to be a time where the opposing team is not going to see one or the other. It's either going to be both Jimmy and Steph or one or the other on the floor. So I think even though they're on the road down in Orlando against a tough team, Perk, that the Warriors can jump out to a 3-point halftime lead.
You like it, Perk?
Malika, next, I'm rolling with him.
Okay.
I'm rolling with him.
All right.
Move on.
Then move on we shall, Tyler. All right, those are good for tonight. Let's look a little further down the road, shall we? Who's the best bet to come out of the West, do you think, right now?
Yeah, I remember Wendy talking on yesterday's show about saying, I'm not going to bet against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I know he doesn't literally bet. He's just saying they're the best team and they deserve that respect. And that's true. But we are betting with our money. And the Thunder are an odds-on favorite. That means you got to pay a lot to win a little. I would much rather bet on the teams that have the proof of concept as far as winning a championship. Both the Warriors and the Lakers, and you can even throw Denver into that mix, who are Denver's plus 500, LA's plus 700, Golden State's plus 1,400. These are the teams I'd much rather bet on than the young up-and-comers that haven't yet proven it. Because Steph, Luka, and LeBron, and Jokic, these guys have proven it, and they're going to give you a better return on your investment if you add them to your championship portfolio.
Perk's all smiles.
Yep. So I'm saying, Malika, go drop a hot 100 on the Lakers. Go drop a hot 100 on Golden State. You know what I'm saying? The return on it is good. And guess what? I know the Lakers for sure definitely have a chance of coming out of the Western Conference. That's a great bet.
Tyler, thank you as always for stopping by NBA Today. We really appreciate your time here. Now, before we bounce to break, we here at NBA Today have already been adding to the immense walking ego that is Richard Jefferson. But in all seriousness, Richard has been named to the game broadcast for the NBA Finals, and we could not be more proud of him, all of us here at NBA Today. But we are not the only ones that have begrudgingly taken up this task.
Hey, Richard, I just want to say absolutely no congratulations to you. You are the worst at what you do, and I'm sick that they even put you with that lineup. I just don't understand it. I don't know what's going on over there, but you must have some dirt on somebody. No, in all seriousness, man, I love you. Congratulations. Super duper proud to be a brother of yours, man, and you're going to kill it. Of course you are. You're the best, bro. Love you.
Richard, I just want you to know that I begrudgingly agreed to do this. I don't actually want to do this. If anything, you owe me a thank you, so you're welcome. You wouldn't be in this position without me taking this job, so you're welcome. In all seriousness, very proud of you. You're like a brother to me. I love you. And you were born for this, getting to work with.
I will continue to focus on my health with the hope that I can return to coaching in the future. Shams joins us now. You reported, Shams, that Popovich met with the team today. What happened in that meeting?
Malika, I'm told it was an emotional meeting between Greg Popovich and all of his players for the first time since he suffered the stroke in November. My understanding, tears were shed because players saw their coach, who was clearly recovering from a stroke, still rehabbing, and they saw the physical signs of someone who has had hindrance, something that's clearly hindering him from the stroke. And this is someone in Greg Popovich, guys, he wants to coach. He badly still wants to be out there. And that's what players see, is someone that had his life and what he's wanted from a professional perspective being taken away, his joy for coaching. And a lot of the meeting was also filled with typical Pop, and that's motivational messages. That's the wit. That's critique. That's praise and advice for players. But this is someone that made it clear, Greg Popovich, he's not going to be coming back this season. Yeah. Mitch Johnson is going to be the coach for now. And Greg Popovich's NBA future remains uncertain.
Remains uncertain. Shams, thank you so very much for stopping by NBA Today to share the details of that first meeting that Popovich has had with the San Antonio Spurs team. As we bring it on to set now with our senior writer, Brian Windhorst, Shams is reporting that his future certainly remains uncertain. But one thing that we did not see Popovich say in this statement is that he is retiring from basketball.
Absolutely. Two things, if you're going to parse the statement, which I think was very clearly done and clearly written. First off, he said it was his decision to step away, which is just reminding everybody that he remains the team president, not just the head coach, but it's his decision, nobody else's decision. He is still in charge. Secondly, he absolutely did not retire. He absolutely left the door open. Who knows whether he's going to be able or not to do this, but he very clearly wants to come back. And I'll just remind you, the current contract he's on, he's never really needed a contract. He will always coach as long as he wants. He doesn't need that term. But in 2023, he signed a contract for 5 years, which was a message that he doesn't think that he's ready to stop, that he wants to be out there for the beginning and the establishment of Victor Wembanyama's career.
Can you just illustrate just a little bit more, Brian, the relationship that Pop and Victor Wembanyama have had over the course of his first 2 seasons in the NBA, because no one has covered Victor more closely than you have?
One of the reasons why Victor Wembanyama was so excited about becoming a San Antonio Spur was not just because he saw them develop and turn his countryman Tony Parker into a Hall of Famer,
right,
but because the opportunity to work with Greg Popovich. And before Victor Wembanyama played one game, Pop said, "I'm going to be here for 5 years for you." He made it clear this is not a temporary thing. So I can't speak to his exact health right now. Only he knows that. But I think that has always been his desire. He is not looking to somebody who's looking to be a short timer. He's looking to make a long run with Victor Wembanyama. We'll see if that can possibly happen.
Once again, Greg Popovich meeting with the team for the first time since this stroke in November today. Pop, of course, is a 5-time champion with the most career wins by a coach in NBA history. He's also a 3-time Coach of the Year, tied for the most all time. We certainly hope to see him back on the sidelines soon. This year, they've gone from the bottom 4 to top 4 in paint points per game allowed. This offseason, the Pistons also acquired veteran shooters Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr. That's helped them improve from bottom 5 in three-point shooting up to 12th. And the NBA, it's a stars league. This year, Cade Cunningham has taken a leap to an all-NBA level. He's one of 2 guys to average 25 points, 9 assists this season, along with the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic. So let's take a listen to Cade Cunningham.
This is everything that we wanted to do, is, turn this restore this franchise, what we said a lot. And so to see it come into fruition now is a great thing. I'm happy for the city. But I'm not satisfied at all. I think there's still a lot more work to do. I think the city wants to see a lot more. The city wants championships. And so we're slowly building towards that.
We're the Pistons. We got to get our respect through continuing to show the world. And we're not done.
Kendrick Perkins joining us for this conversation as well. I think that Malik Beasley's right. The Pistons know they have to earn this respect, Wendy. How good can this team really be?
Well, a couple of things. First off, Cade Cunningham, even in the history of the Pistons franchise, where you've seen some guards that have gone on to be Hall of Famers, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Chauncey Billups, he's having an incredible season. He's having one of the most prolific seasons by a Pistons guard ever. He's probably headed for All-NBA consideration, already been an All-Star. That's one. Secondly, this is a very hard team to play against. They rough you up on the interior. They have a lot of size. Jalen Duren is huge. We know Isaiah Stewart is in there pounding guys away, plays very hard. Tobias Harris, talk about the best revenge is living well, Malika. How do you think the 76ers feel about watching Tobias Harris go to Detroit and have success? And not only that, but Beasley is one of the best signings that we've seen all year. $6 million. He was okay for the Bucks last year. They couldn't afford to keep him. The Pistons come in, get one of the best value signings you can see. He's been a terrific addition. This team is 6th place with eyes on 4th. 1 year ago today, February 24, they were 9-49. Look at him now.
They're very athletic. They have good defense, great rebounding. They get out in transition. But Perk, we've talked about this being a stars league, and Cade Cunningham is blossoming into a star. And you have a very interesting Hall of Fame comparison for Cade Cunningham. Who is that?
Well, Malika, don't act like me and you wasn't sitting on that NBA doing the NBA draft together, and I was getting crucified on the internet because I made the comparison and said that Cade Cunningham reminds me of Grant Hill, a healthy Grant Hill. This man is a young superstar on the rise. He checks all the boxes. he does it all. If you want the scoring, he's going to give you buckets. If you want the dimes, he's going to do that as well. And he plays with a chip on his shoulder, and he's a great leader. Look, on top of that, the physicality that he plays with. They have a swag with them that I love. They're instigators and not retaliators. They don't mess around. And when you have a young rising star like Cade Cunningham leading the charge, you have an opportunity to not only get into the playoffs, but definitely go in there and make some noise and possibly pop somebody in the first round and get to the second round because you have a guy that could take over like Cade.
Well, I'll tell you this, Perk. There's one player to average 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists in a season in Pistons history, and that was Grant Hill. Cade Cunningham is on pace to be the second here. Why could they cause problems for a team in the first round?
Well, right now they're in 6th. They got their eyes going forward, but if you're the New York Knicks, you've already had difficulty with size inside, and you're looking for size yourself. You see the way that the Pistons play. Like, I wouldn't say it's a comfortable matchup for them. So, but I'm going to say, they've got a cushion on 6th. I think they're definitely headed to avoid the play-in, which would be amazing to say. And they are right on the heels of Indiana and Milwaukee. If those teams have a bad week or two and the Pistons keep winning, we're talking about them chasing potential home court in the first round.
Yeah, and the Pistons, if you have not been watching them so far this season, now is the time. It is not too late. League Pass, they are the team to watch. One of my favorite stories this first half for a young team that's trying to prove they're legit.
This is kind of what they do. When they get down by double digits this year, they're 13-7. They came back from 18 down in this one. They're 4-4 and they get down by 15. So I know they got criticized for blowing that big lead, but they've also been practicing coming back in games, which may be useful in the playoffs as well.
Absolutely. All right, to Sacramento. That's where last night Utah's Walker Kessler joined Nikola Jokic as the only players in NBA history to record 25 or more points, 10-plus rebounds, 5 or more assists, 0 turnovers, and shoot 100% from the field. So, Perk, what impresses you the most about the big man?
Well, Malika, it's a reason why a lot of title contending teams wanted this young stud, because he does it all from a center aspect. And it's a reason why Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz wanted a full package for him. But this man is special. He's a diver to the basket, high IQ, great rim protector, cleans the glass like a fresh bottle of Windex. Love everything about him.
Let's make a stop in Toronto. That's where Tyrese Halliburton had 33 and 11. Don't look now. The Pacers, they've won 4 of 5 and have themselves sitting at 4th in the Eastern Conference, passing Milwaukee. Windy, how much pressure is on Halliburton to keep up this level of play?
Maybe he can. He was disappointed, obviously, to not make his 3rd straight All-Star game, but since he came back from the All-Star break, 26 points, 12 assists a game on 63% shooting, 53% from three-point range, and obviously a dominant performance setting up guys and shooting in this game.
Well, entering most important stretch of the season, this is how Tyrese Halliburton wants to be playing. All right, so Paul George announced this week that he is pausing Podcast P, but maybe powering a Sixers comeback. Jalen Brunson, he's not pausing here. Under 3 to play, still a 2-point game. Tyrese Maxey gets inside. Crafty finishes.
Maxey does work against the Knicks.
And New York wins this one, 110-105. So in another universe, Brian, we could have been talking about how, okay, this was a valiant effort for the 76ers without Joel Embiid, maybe if they were up in the standings. But that's not what happened here. What stood out to you the most?
Yeah, when you're lost 9 in a row, it's tough to give you credit for much.
Right.
But, we've talked a lot about what the Knicks aren't the last week or so. Let's talk about what they are. What they are is a really good home team, and Jalen Brunson is an MVP candidate. He's not going to win it, but he's top 5 on my ballot for exactly nights like this. In the first quarter, they didn't have Karl Towns. He got Bridges going, gave him 6 assists in the first quarter. In the fourth, when they got in trouble, he carried them home. What else do you want from a franchise star than a guy who can take a 50-50 game and carry you to victory? The Knicks have challenges, but they've also got a lot going for them, and one of them is that dude.
Man, I would have loved to see Perk. Can you what was your face when he just said an MVP candidate? I would have loved to see it on camera.
I forgot. I make so many faces. I don't even know
what stood out to you in this one?
But what stood out to me the most is that the Knicks can be a very good basketball team when guys are being stars in their role. We know what Big Body Brunson is capable of doing. He's one of the best closers in the game when it comes to the fourth quarter. But I look at Mikal Bridges and I'm looking at OG Anunoby. And what the Knicks need those guys to do is be elite defenders. That's how they earned their name. That's how they got their reputation in the league. Can they score points on certain nights in the NBA? Absolutely, they can have some big scoring nights. But if they buckle down and accept their role and be stars in their role, then they give the Knicks a better chance, especially when Mitchell Robinson comes back, of actually trying to compete with Boston and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
On the other side of all of this, Paul George, he had 17 of his 25 points in the second half. He played 42 minutes, his first 20-point game here in over a month, Perk. He said that he is done with the podcast for now. He wants to just focus on his play, being able to sort of get right. What do you make of all of this?
I actually love it from PG. I mean, look, again, winning at a high level is hard, right? And it comes with sacrificing. Sometimes it comes with sacrificing a lot of your life outside of basketball. And so, again, do I love Paul George on the microphone? Is he an educated man when it comes to speaking the game of basketball? Absolutely. But I also want to see Paul George be the Paul George that we've grown to love, a Paul George that's been one of the elite players around the league, and he hasn't been that. So whatever it takes to get back to that space, to focus on your craft and keep the main thing, I'm all in for it.
Well, the 76ers, they return home to host the Golden State